Hey Thrivers, welcome back to another episode of Thrivin in Color. August is Black Business Month, a time to celebrate Black entrepreneurs, innovators, and visionaries who are creating opportunities, driving economy growth, and building lasting legacies. Today, that entrepreneurial spirit extends far beyond traditional industries. Every day, Black creators shape the conversations we have, the trends we follow, and the culture that moves the internet. Behind every viral moment is a business, and behind many of those businesses are the people helping creators turn influence into impact and creativity into sustainable careers. In this episode, I'm joined by Ashley Planks, a vice president of creator relations at Culture Genesis and a creator economy executive who has spent the last 15 years shaping the rise of the Black creator economy. Throughout her career, Ashley has worked behind the scenes with more than 1,000 creators, helped facilitate millions of dollars in brand partnerships, and witnessed firsthand how Black creators have driven culture, innovation, and the evolution of digital media. Thrivers. Whether you're a creator, entrepreneur, marketer, or simply curious about the future of digital business, this episode is packed with insights you can put into action. Ashley, welcome to Thriving in Color. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show today.
I am so excited to be here. Like you said, we have a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on in the creator economy. There's a lot impacting Black creators. Let's have a
Yes,
great conversation. I'm super excited to join you.
let's do it. So, before we get to business, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah. Thank you for that excellent kickoff. As you mentioned, I've been in the creator economy now for about 15 years. Actually started off in the music industry and like so many, packed up everything in my car and headed for LA in search of bright lights and movie stars and found myself in this burgeoning new business, which again in 2011 looked a lot different than it looks now. But I've been blessed and fortunate to kind of grow with this business, starting kind of with the MCN era, had a front row seat to the Vine era, was there when Russell Simmons launched All Def Digital, and to now in the streaming world. So it's an incredible time and to really sit down and have this conversation. Native of Phoenix, Arizona, if anybody's joining us from the desert, it's 110 degrees outside. Hello to everybody. And I have to extend a very special greeting in case there are any of those mighty marching Panthers from Clark Atlanta University. It's nice to have all of you here. I am a proud graduate and I look forward to connecting with more of you on the call.
All right. Now, your career has placed you at the intersection of culture, creativity, and business. What inspired you to dedicate your work to helping creators build and grow?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So, like I just kind of started talking about when I first moved into this space, I actually reached out to a friend that ran a recording studio in LA and came across a young musician, a cute white guy with the guitar that was like, "Hey, I need an assistant. I have a couple bucks that I could pay you a week." I was in LA, I had no money. Sign me up. He was hiring, I was following. It was pretty much how it started. It turned out just sometimes right place and right time is what it is. But he was the creator and star of an incredibly popular web series called Epic Rap Battles of History at the
Okay.
time. And he had I just kind of found myself immersed in this world. But like many of us that enter new spaces, I looked up and didn't see a lot of people that looked like me. My early question to Nice Peter was his name. I was like, are there any Black content creators doing like what is going on here?
Right.
And I think kind of context is important. The year was 2011, and there were literally maybe 6 or 7 people that had more than 1 million subscribers on YouTube, which is crazy to say in 2026, but that's how new the creator economy was. And I saw the opportunities that were coming to this new kind of group of kids, quite frankly, in Los Angeles,
Mhm.
California, that were posting videos on YouTube and making a lot of money, getting some really interesting phone calls and opportunities from Hollywood. brands reaching out, and there were only a couple, quite frankly, that looked like us.
Wow.
Daystorm Power, legend in this space, was one of the early pioneers, Black content creators, and quite frankly, he and I just kind of looked at each other and, others in the business, like, we've got to figure out how to make sure that we are getting a piece of this pie, because it was clear there was a pie and there was some opportunity to be given. But again, like most of us that walk into new spaces, there just weren't very many that looked like us. And there was a very small group of us in those early stages that knew we had to do something about this. And how do we put people that look like us, our content, quite frankly, our stories, how do we get them? We knew that was incredibly important from the very beginning. And in an industry where it was about kind of a DIY mentality, I'll probably talk about that a couple times throughout our call, but we knew we had to do it ourselves, is literally what it was. It's like we're kind of on our own over here. We see, people from other communities just kind of coming together, hanging out in the backyard all day with some cameras, and we're just going to start firing out content. And that's exactly what it did. So hopefully people in other industries that just, can resonate with that. You just kind of look around and you're like, where are we? And so we knew we had to get started.
I love that. Wow. And the creator economy now is just booming. So thinking about it then and now and the difference and how much it has grown. Wow.
It's incredible. We used to have literally parties, you know what I mean, when somebody would hit 1 million subscribers and press releases would come out and the entire and I mean these huge massive parties, and now everybody has 1 million followers on something, but
Yes.
at the time it was, wait a second, you have 1 million people following you? Oh no, let's start cracking open the champagne.
Now, Culture Genesis has become a leader in digital media and creator partnerships. What is the company's mission and how are you helping creators grow and monetize their platforms?
Yeah, absolutely. So here at Culture Genesis, if I could say it in one sentence, we sell ads for YouTube channels. And why is that important, especially now in 2026, is, we're seeing this pull towards YouTube in particular, where we now know people watch YouTube like they watch television. For a long time, that was a question, right? Well, people watch YouTube or TikTok or something on their phone like they watch television? And the answer is yes, they do. We're watching podcasts, we're being entertained, we're being informed, we're learning new information, and we're watching it, especially in more long form content on YouTube. So that puts us at a very interesting intersection. For our advertisers, we can go to them with some of the biggest channels in the world, like Kai Sinat, iShowSpeed, who we're incredibly proud to work with, that entire AMP crew, or just a couple of the streamers and content creators that we work with in our network. But we're able to go to advertisers and say, if you want to buy premium programmatic advertising on their YouTube channels, Culture Genesis is the company to come to do that. We are officially like a YouTube partner. We work alongside Google and provide an additional revenue stream to the creators in our network on top of their AdSense. So for most people out there, you have your AdSense program, and that essentially means that Google is out and selling that ad space on your channel. That's the monthly check every month. For the creators that work with Culture Genesis, now you get two, because now you have two people selling on behalf of your channel. And again, for the advertisers, we're able to offer this space. We're able to say, hey, we know kind of what their content will look like or what they're going to be doing over the next couple of years. Come and take over all the ad inventory on iShowSpeed's channel for a weekend, and we can charge a pretty penny for that. And it's a good payday for everybody involved.
Wow, you guys are doing some amazing work. My goodness, I love it. So, you've worked with more than 1,000 creators. What are the 5 biggest mistakes creators make, and what should they do instead to grow their audience and build a lasting brand?
Oh, very, very good question. So I think there's a couple of things that I've seen over the years. If I'm talking directly to content creators, I would say this. Focus on building a community, not just building a following or building an audience. Worry about finding your people, not
Mhm.
necessarily finding everybody, right? There are some content creators, plenty I know, right, that are making literally six figures a month, but they're not on billboards. They're not on the red carpets. They're not doing the movies. They're not making the headlines. They have
Mm.
found their corner of social media. They have found their audience, their niche. I know that's a big word right now,
Right.
but work is focused on finding your community, right? That's the
Mhm.
most important thing. One thing I can tell you for sure, I know for sure, having watching kind of creators rise, creators fall, kind of reach the next level.
Mhm.
5 years from now, your followers won't be here. 5 years from now, your community will.
Mm.
And those that focused on building their community are the ones that have found longevity in this space. Names like Issa Rae or somebody like a Kev on Stage in particular in 2011, believe it or not, they were, the more smaller content creators. And, they're just larger than life at this stage, but they had communities,
Mm.
audiences behind them, quite frankly, armies that have sustained and stayed with them throughout.
Yeah.
I would say if there's maybe something else is instead of worrying about what kind of platforms want, worry about your algorithm, right? Get to know your audience. The platforms can change at a dime. They can easily press a button and something works differently
Yep.
tomorrow than it did yesterday. And so I see a lot of that, especially I would say now that we're in kind of this new phase of content creators over the last couple of years, is focus
Mhm.
on your algorithm. And again, that ties into your community. What do people watch you for? And that may be a completely different answer than they watch the next person for, even if they create similar content, right? They're
Right.
watching you for a reason. And that's what I want a lot of content creators to think about in 2026 is how do I find my people? How do I become their expert? For the longest time, I think there was maybe a narrative or a thinking that the best opportunities would go to people with the biggest followers. And for a while, that
Mhm.
was probably true, right? Because again, you have a million followers on something, here you go.
Yeah.
But now, but now we know that there are some people that have a lot of followers but no influence. And
Mm.
now that we know that, who else knows that? Brands and advertisers, right? So worry about kind of like your people, find your niche, even if it's not the largest group of people. That is
Mhm.
totally fine. The opportunities will still be there for you because they are there to watch you, hear your voice, and receive your expertise. That's what's most important.
Mm. Wow, right on the head, guys. She is dropping gems today, man. So everyone wants to go viral, of course, but does going viral actually build a successful business?
No.
What's the what's the biggest
Next question.
misconception creators have about success online?
Oh yeah, yeah. Honestly, next question. The answer to that is no. The answer to that is no. But yeah, I mean it's a great question, and let's even dive into it. But it happens all the time. Honestly, going viral is almost the easy part, right? It's
Right.
like it just kind of it's all. And I know some of us, I've been there in the room where we're like, "Hey guys, this is the video that's gonna take us out of here. It's going to get millions of views, and then 12
Mhm.
people watch it." I've been there in the room when it happens. I turn on to become a real life therapist almost, but that honestly, that's almost the easy part, right? Getting
Right.
them to come back is where things are, and quite frankly, that's for any business, right? That's for any
Yes.
entrepreneur. Restaurants might say, okay, we can throw out a coupon to come and visit for the first time. Are they going to come back? That may
Mm.
determine kind of how it worked, right? So
Right.
definitely not focus on going viral. Focus on the consistency is the most
Mm.
important part. I'd be I'd much rather see even at like kind of 10,000 views consistently on,
Mm,
and then see, one that kind of went up. We'll look at averages across everything, right? And at some
mhm,
point, we'll know and see, okay, something unique happened here, something special. Brands, platforms, people that are potentially looking at you for an opportunity will want to see
mhm.
kind of what that consistent number is. And then I think you asked the question about a misconception about
Yes.
what it
The
means
mis-
to go viral.
yeah.
Repeat that for me, please, and we'll run that back.
So, what's the biggest misconception creators have about success online?
Oh yeah, that it's easy, and that these guys are that the money's going to come fast, right?
Mhm.
It takes time. But being a content creator is entrepreneurship, right? It's building a
Right.
brand, it's building a business. The most successful content creators right now are not just content creators. If we'll use somebody like Issa Rae for an example, she's a media business, right? Not just content
Right.
creator, a media business. The money's going to take time. Building an audience is going to take time. It's not easy being a content creator. It requires the consistency and the dedication of building any business from the ground up, right? So, whether you're
Mhm.
doing this or opening a restaurant or opening a daycare, you're going to have to put in the time and know that the opportunities are it's going to take time, especially to see the money. If you want an
Right.
insider's kind of pro tip, the number of people who are full-time content creators, full-time influencers is a very small group of people. Yeah, I wouldn't even say relative. It's a very small group of people, the ones
Wow.
who do it full-time and are able to employ others full-time. For most, it's part-time, it's a hobby, or it's a small business on the side that we're all working and hustling to get to, just like
Mhm.
anything else. But understanding that when you are signing up to be a content creator, you are starting a business, and it's going to take that same level of dedication. It's going to take the time, it's going to take the consistency, as with anything else. Because I see it often. Hey, this is a fantastic video. I'm going to go viral. And then they do. And they just kind of sit back and wait for the phone to ring. Oh no, where's your next one? Like, we got to keep going. We got to keep going. But getting the following that's the easy part. As hard as it is, that's the easy part. Getting people to come back, getting them to not just follow you, but buy your ticket, not just follow you, but buy your product. Those things take time, they take trust, and it's going to take a little bit of work.
Absolutely agree. People forget that you definitely have to put in time. Entrepreneurship goes from 9 to 5 to 24/7.
24/7.
So, what makes a creator attractive to major brands? And what are the biggest mistakes that cause brands to walk away?
Oh yeah, I love this question. Yes, I would say there's a couple of things that I would say consistently across the board. We have to remember one thing, and
Mhm.
especially in the creator economy that we're in right now, brands can afford to be picky. You know what I mean? There are more content creators, more influencers than ever before, and I think that's a great thing. But it
Mhm.
also means that they can find experts if they say, "I want a Black woman with that lives in New York, and her expertise is sneakers, and she went to an HBCU." Somebody in the comments fits exactly that. We can find literally that person if that's what it is that they're looking for. So I think that's an important thing to keep in mind, right? Like anything else, it's like applying for any other job. Resumes are looked at, expertise is evaluated, what kind of team do you have around you to potentially execute some of these projects. But I would say a couple of things that stand out for. What are you an expert in? What do they look to you specifically for, right?
Mhm.
Give you a real time example. I have a creator I've worked with for a long time, and her expertise is actually sports. She's an online athlete, and
Okay.
reached out just last week and was like, "Well, how come I don't work with any beauty brands?" It's like, "Well, you post sports content, right?" So she's like, "Well, I want to work with more beauty brands." It's like, "Well, we have to kind of put that out there a little bit, and not just put out your willingness to create that type of content,
Mhm.
Brands will want to know, do you have expertise in that area, right? Just because they follow you for this doesn't necessarily mean they will follow you for that. Again,
Mm.
people have options now in 2026. What
Yes.
is your expertise is one thing that brands are looking at. And quite frankly, one thing we're seeing in the data and just kind of how the brand partnerships are playing out, the
Mhm.
generalists is probably the best way I can describe them. The generalists are the ones that are kind of struggling right now. Those that have
Mhm.
expertise, those that have trust in their area of influence or credibility or an expertise, those are
Mhm.
the ones that are doing well with brands right now, right? Brands
Mhm.
want to know, before I put this Pepsi in your hand, are you followed by a bunch of people who are trying to avoid sugar? Like, those things matter, guys. You know what? Those things matter. And
Yes.
I think, like, influencers in particular, like, keep those things in mind. A brand is looking at you and wants to know, do your followers trust you for what it is that we're about to put in front of them? Will they trust your voice, or will they trust your expertise? I think that's also incredibly important. Another big thing is the consistency, right? Back to
Mhm.
the point we were talking about, and are people watching like television? Are people
Right.
programming? Those where they can get behind a series that you're doing, those influencers and content creators are doing very well.
Yes.
Again, when we can look and say, hey, somebody like an All Def, we own and operate All Def at Culture Genesis. When we can look and say, hey, we're going to do this another episode of Tony B. Walking, fantastic show hosted by comedian Tony Baker. When we can go to an advertiser and say, hey, we know that this is going to come out in December 2026. Will be programmed like television. We know it's coming out every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. It gives them something very consistent to sink their teeth into. So again,
Yes.
like, going back and comparing it to any other business, when are you open? Why do people come into your store? What makes them keep coming back? Is influencers and content creators, brands are asking the exact same thing about you.
Mhm. Wow. And I can definitely agree that being on the socials is just like watching TV. I remember when everyone was looking at Who the F Did I Marry on TikTok faithfully. And it was like a crazy thing. It was so major. And she ended
This,
up going from there to writing a book. And I'm just
yeah,
like, wow, what
it's yeah,
creating can do.
it's what creating can do, right? And I think that's incredibly important, is to just try it. You know what I mean? Do it. And I can tell you how often this happens when a content creator, they'll spend weeks and months in developing a show or a series or
Mhm.
a concept, post it, and for the most part, absolutely nothing happens. And it's devastating, right? Where
Right.
we have an emotional support team, and then they got up and put together something in a day, and just kind of, it cranked out, it flowed. That's the video that went viral that week. So, and I'm like, this video, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten that call over the years. This show
Man.
went viral. This video, really, this one? And so it's like, try it, just do it. Nobody's going to tell you no. This is why we have this industry. This is why the creator economy exists. Try it.
Yes.
Nobody likes it, delete it. You know what I mean? Hey, nobody saw it. Nobody did. I do it all the time. I post it. 3 people say, I don't like it. Take it off.
Take it
Take it down. But even then, like, just post it, and you never know who's watching. You never know who is inspired by what you're doing. And again, this is not the race. It's not about a race to the biggest followers. It's, what do people trust you for? That's where
down.
I
Right.
think you see the beauty of this space. I think that's where, again, community is created over followers. Is find your people. You know what I mean? It's, you're curating this amazing group of us that work in multiple industries and behind the scenes. That means something, right? Regardless of how many people may or may not, it's irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant, right? You have a voice. What
Right.
you're doing matters, and you're helping us tell our stories. That's incredibly powerful. Keep going. You are 1000% on the right track. No, you're my interviewer, but I just can't help it. I think it just kind of came out. I know we're interviewing, but yeah, that's the one. Just put it out there. Just do it. Just put it out there.
Just
And you
do
never
it.
know who's watching.
Yep, that's what I always say. You never know who's watching, who you're going to inspire.
No.
Man, I love it.
Yeah.
So, as we talk about brands and what attract these brands, when considering brand partnerships, what are the most important factors creators should weigh before saying yes?
Yeah. Yep. Very, very good question. I think one of the most important things is making sure that and if they did kind of their job properly, that they are
Hmm.
not stifling your voice in any way. They are reaching out to you because of your expertise, because of your ability to connect with your audience. Make sure that is protected, right? And I think sometimes that's a friction point. If you wanted to just hire somebody to recite your words, or you can go do a commercial, right? You're coming to me for a reason. You were like, we're coming to you, Camry, for a reason.
Yeah.
So let you talk to people in your audience, the way that they want you to, the way they expect you to.
Hmm.
Maintaining the authenticity of your voice, I think, is incredibly, incredibly important, and probably the most important thing. The second you feel like that's not being respected, it's time to walk away. Also, the consideration of your time in creating any potential assets or branded content, all of those things matter.
Yep.
And again, from a perspective of behind the scenes, right? It's something that we have to help balance, because again, it's not about having the biggest following. Sometimes it's about having a trusted audience, but you don't
Hmm.
want that to backfire on you when it's time to negotiate a price, right? Because then it's, oh, well, you're smaller than this content creator. No. Well, that's not that's when I, the manager, kind of step in, and we have to, no. I don't have
Hmm.
the largest following, but I have an incredibly engaged. They look to me for my expertise.
Hmm.
Even if, there are 10,000 people that subscribe to me versus 100,000 that subscribe to somebody else, that's irrelevant if mine
Right.
is the audience that you want, right? So finding that definite balance between, no, I don't have the biggest audience, which is fine.
Hmm.
They like that. They like experts. They like niche. Again, is the word of 2026, especially on threads, right? They go, oh,
Right.
I got niche. And so there's that all brands will concede to, and they'll tell you, oh no, we don't go for the biggest following anymore. But we need to make sure that that doesn't come back and kind of bite you as a content creator when it's time to
Hmm.
start the negotiation process. Because I guarantee saying, oh, okay, well, you don't have the biggest following. Let's stop right there and and make sure that kind of my engagement and my voice is also part of this conversation.
Yes.
Again, so understanding, and also I would say is it's especially important once you get to that point that you
Hmm.
have the right kind of experts around you, or doing what you have to do as a content creator to educate yourself on business terms. Make sure you have, I tell everybody, before you get a manager or an agent, you need a lawyer first. So
Right.
make sure you understand kind of what's going on. It's a delicate balance, right? Because as content creators, it's a DIY mentality, and you're often on your own. You're your editor, director, you're doing
Yeah.
your own promo, you're doing your own everything. But know when it's time to reach out for any type of help. There are many out there. As we continue to have conversations, or if
Right.
anybody reaches out, would be happy to make some recommendations for anybody. But knowing when to bring in that help, I think, is incredibly important as well, particularly on that negotiation piece with brands.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree. So, what challenges do Black creators often face when trying to monetize their creativity, and how can they better position themselves for success?
From day one, Black content creators have had absolutely no room for error. The slightest cuss word would, oh no, cancel the whole
Right.
cancel the whole thing. And again, this is across all industries. We all know this. Black content creators have had zero room for error.
Mhm.
Whereas a streamer, in like gaming culture, streaming culture,
Right.
there's certain terminology that maybe you'll hear a white content creator or streamer, they'll say a bad word and it doesn't affect them at all, Day Storm would say one thing in 2011. Oh my gosh, like, well, no, we have to edit it.
Right.
The whole, I mean, just no room for speaking to our audience the way that we want to, or the way that
Mhm.
our audience understands. It could be as simple as, making a reference that only we understand,
Right.
as Black people, as a Black audience. The brand is like, well, what is this? We're not talking to you. It's
This is nuts.
we're talking to you. Let us kind of have this conversation amongst ourselves. And it's gotten better. I would say we're still not there. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
look at, again, people, there are plenty of content creators right now that are doing fantastic, but then there are plenty that are not. Again, just no room for error when, making references to certain things, or, zero room for error with language that may be used, or jokes that may be told. I know
Mhm.
a lot of the comedians that I work with are nodding right now. It's like, it just is absolutely zero room for error. But I think the most important thing we can do is continue to show up with our armies behind us, right?
Yes.
You'll look and you'll see, okay, maybe a content creator is doing this opportunity with the Tubi, or doing this with the Netflix, or whatever it is it may be. I can guarantee you the
Mhm.
content creators that are getting those types of opportunities are not worried if that partnership doesn't last until the end of time. They have their audience. You know what I mean? Like, Issa
Right.
Rae's audience is going with her regardless of wherever it is that she may be. So
Absolutely.
focus on building your audience, find your people. Don't rely on the platforms to kind of make it easy to find audience. Don't rely on brands to come in and be that kind of financial resource on a reliant or consistent basis. The people
Mhm.
who are putting on the brand deal money having a hard time right now, right? But
Yeah.
those who are focused on building your audience, the ones that are going to stay with you, the ones that are going to go with you wherever it is it may be, are the ones that are doing the best right now. I don't like to, name drop, but if there's a great example of somebody who kind of followed the steps in
Mhm.
order, would be comedian Nate Jackson, and
Mhm.
the success that he got on TikTok was clearly, it was growing, it was elevating. But the very first thing that Nate did was pull them off of TikTok and into Seats. That's my audience.
Mm.
And I'm not sharing it with TikTok. These are my people. You know what I mean? Now I
Okay.
need to get them to follow me, to subscribe to my newsletter, to come to my club. This
Mm.
are my people, right? And so,
Right.
regardless of anything else that happens, that's the most important part. You build up your following on a platform, get them in your pocket. You want them on your email distribution list, you want them on your text list, and have that one on one relationship. The platforms and advertisers can never take that away from you.
Wow, I love that. And as you spoke on having no room for error, I think
Yeah.
of cancel culture, because cancel culture is this huge thing. Like one mistake and you're canceled.
That's it.
It's That's it. And it's crazy because these creators, I know they work so hard for a lot of the
Yep.
things that they put out and do. So just to be canceled in one split second,
Yep.
like, wow.
In one split second. And the audience can do it. The platforms can do it. We've survived
Mhm.
a couple of adpocalypses now, is what we'll call them, on YouTube. And again, in 2011, if we take this trip down memory lane, there used to be
Wow.
things like being on the front page of YouTube. And they would jockey and have their managers, hey, how do I need this video to hit the front page of YouTube to guarantee views. The
Mhm.
algorithm worked a certain way. Literally, they pressed one button in 2012 and changed the entire monetization structure for their
Wow.
platform. And unfortunately, when we sign up for the terms and conditions, we're giving YouTube, TikTok, Meta the right to do that, right? It's like they
Mhm.
can literally press a button at any time, and the functionality, the way you connected with your audience, can change overnight. They can't do that if your audience is yours, right? So the platform
Right.
should really be a tool to get people to follow you or subscribe you, buy into
Mhm.
you in whatever way that may be. But you don't want to rely on the platform themselves to do that for you, right? The platform, their
Right.
bottom line is their own bottom line. And pro tip, their stakeholder are advertisers, not creators. YouTube wakes up
Mhm.
every day worried about how to get more advertisers. They don't need more content creators. They'll take it, but they wake up every day looking for more advertisers. That's the
Yeah.
stakeholder that keeps them up at night.
Mm,
And how to stay, they have to keep kind of that coming in. You have to be, again, your own CEO and kind of fine tune your own community. So even if they wake up tomorrow and decide to do something different, it
right.
doesn't affect your bottom line. I'll give you one other quick example. We saw
Mhm.
in we get a newsletter called Tubular, which is like our Hollywood Reporter, our Variety, our trade publication, and a bunch of ASMR channels that would
Mhm.
link to external video that would
Mhm.
violate YouTube's terms of service if it were on YouTube, right? Um,
Mm,
so again, the video was not on YouTube. It was linked from a YouTube channel, went to a video that was considered not safe for work. YouTube
yeah.
decided they didn't like that, completely swept that off, their ability to do that. And now all of those channels with millions and millions of views and followers now no longer eligible for monetization. It happened overnight. You know what I mean? It happened
That quick.
overnight. And we don't want to be in that position. Own
Right.
your audience. The platform is merely a tool, it is a vessel, but your audience is yours, and treat them like that.
Yeah. Mm, I like that. Now we spoke earlier about how building a brand can take time, and we know it does. So, what are your tips for building a strong personal brand and attracting the right opportunities?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. One, it's important to have that voice. What are you an expert at, right? What are you an expert at? And contrary to what some think, nobody's an expert at everything. What are you an expert at? That's the most important thing. Where is your community? What do people trust you for? Consistency is incredibly important, even if that means like bank shooting, right? Like, hey, I work full-time job. I don't have time to shoot content all day, every day that I'm not quite frankly getting paid to do yet. That's okay.
Mhm.
I'm going to block off a Saturday afternoon and shoot enough content that can sustain me for the next 6 weeks. And in 2011, 2012, that's exactly what the big content creators were doing. We didn't have time to shoot every day. We had jobs. Yeah. Who had time to shoot content all day. So we just kind of bank shoot it, but set it up in a way that allows you to be as consistent as possible, I think is the most important thing. Again, having that authenticity of voice. The ones who are also getting amazing opportunities right now are the ones who are programming their content, right? Who have
Mhm.
shows or series. Um,
Right.
I think there's an important thing to know. There's influencers and then there's content creators, and oftentimes the two are used interchangeably, but they're not
Mhm.
necessarily the same thing. And quite frankly, they don't get the same opportunities, right? So,
Mhm.
what is it that you're going after? Is it that you want to write television shows and be in movies and you have a little bit more of that approach? For a lot of people, that's not the goal at all. And quite frankly, the type of content they create doesn't necessarily sustain or support that. For some, it's more get ready with me, or, makeup tips for dry skin, or, go with me to Coachella. And, they're a little bit more kind of influencers and less content creators. So there's,
Right.
different paths depending on what it is that you want to do. But again, what is your voice? I think we have a bad habit as people, not necessarily just as content creators, if you look around you and you're like, wait, this person's doing this person's getting this. What are we doing? How is this happening? You have to just zero in on what matters to you. That's the
Mhm.
beauty of the creator economy. What matters to people who need you, who are looking to learn from you. That's
Yeah.
why we open our phones. That's why we open YouTube. We want to be entertained, or we want to be informed in some way, shape, or form. Know what it is that you're offering to your audience. The platforms and the brands will come after that, right? So I think just
Mhm.
specifically focusing kind of on the people, focusing on your voice, that's where winning takes place in this business.
Got it. Okay. Now,
Did
you
I answer
also,
your question?
of course.
Okay.
And you also talked about consistency a lot. So a lot of creators are talking about the algorithm, the algorithm, the algorithm.
Yeah.
What does consistency look like? Is that posting every day? Is that posting multiple times throughout the day just to ensure that your post gets seen on the algorithm?
Yeah, fantastic question. Algorithm. Oh my gosh, I want to tear the word apart because it's the most. I hate the word. It's the most overused word in social media and probably the most
Yes.
misused word in social media. So, and here's the thing: you're not gonna like this answer. The answer is whatever consistent means for you, and that really is the answer. For
Yeah.
some people, they can get away with doing one a week, right? Especially
Hmm.
for like people who maybe do podcasts or things like that.
Right.
Others, they rely on more consistent posting. Typically, it's a little bit more short form. But and honestly, this is the honest to goodness truth. What is consistent for you is not necessarily what's consistent for the next person. So there is
Mm.
no right or wrong answer. What you don't want to do is look up and it's been, a month or two. That's where, you're just things are going to start
Right.
getting difficult. You got to start completely from scratch. But it's most important, again, if you're programming, does the audience know when you're going to post? Again, for me, that may be once a week. For you, that's a couple of times a day. What is your sweet
Hmm.
spot? Again, you want to do at least once a week, I would say, especially for long form content, but use your short form, something like shorts, to promote your long form content, right? And
Yeah.
that's how a lot of people kind of stay active in between their content, like their long
Hmm.
form or their actual series, is use your short form content to promote your long form, and that just kind of keeps you in the algorithm.
Right.
I love that word. That you just kind of stay active, but that's the most important thing, right? And
Yeah.
again, it goes back to, I see a lot of people want to chase the algorithm, right? What is the one
Hmm.
thing that I need to do differently that's going to make my videos suddenly start getting views or start getting better engagement? And the answer is it's going to be a combination of things. That's the honest
Mm.
to goodness answer. It's going to be a combination of things. I get this question all the time because I say it all the time. You want to be consistent, but consistent means just that. There's no magic number. There's no kind of smoking gun or magic bullet that you're looking
Hmm.
for. You want your audience, you want advertisers, and quite frankly, the platform to know when you're coming. It's just that simple. And again, YouTube is designed that way, right? If they
Yeah.
know, okay, you're coming weekly and it's a series, it's titled, this is episode one, that's more important in just going once a week than trying to rush and get something up every single day. I will
Hmm.
say this though, this is where I need everybody to become their own statistician. What is your data saying? What is your watch time like, right? If you
Mm.
look up and you're posting content and people are getting through the majority of it, and they're staying and they're watching, whether it's a 5-minute video or 10-minute video, what is your watch time? And if you see that it's long, that tells you you have room for more. You know what I mean? If you look at your data and you see that, maybe the viewership is low, we're starting off smaller, I can't get a little bit more than a minute out of people, then maybe we
Hmm.
want to condense your videos a little bit or shorten them just to get that watch time up. So let your data kind of help you determine and decide. And that's why I want everybody, don't worry about anybody's algorithm but your own. That's what
Mm.
you want. What is your algorithm saying? What is your data saying? And that will tell you, hey, I have a little bit more space here. They're eating up what it is that I'm doing. Maybe I can put out a second video. If you
Right.
see that, hey, I'm losing them here kind of early on in my content. Well, maybe I want to shorten down my videos a little bit or have a stronger hook in the beginning. Let your data help you make as many decisions as possible. That
Mm.
YouTube dashboard, your TikTok dashboard, that
Mhm.
needs to be get up, do your morning affirmations, read your scripture, look at your data. That needs to be kind of Do it in that order.
In that
And
order.
it's like, and make sure your data, more than anything, more than the expert on YouTube or TikTok or Threads or even anything that I can say about just kind of a smoking gun. What is your audience telling you about how they're responding? That is
Mhm.
the most important thing. Let them tell.
All right, guys. Oh my God, bombs, bombs, bombs. There's just so many gems that she's dropping, so much knowledge, so many insights, and we need this. Black creators need this. So before we go, what is one thing you want aspiring creators to remember as they start building their platform?
Yeah. um, it's going to take time.
Mhm.
It's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to be difficult at times, but it's going to be so worth it.
Yeah.
There are more opportunities out there than ever before for content creators, in front of cameras and behind cameras, joining teams, working for platforms, becoming consultants, starting businesses. You're signing up to be an entrepreneur when you're signing up to be a content creator, and it's going to take the grind of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
But it's incredibly worth it, finding again your audience, your people. Your voice is needed, right? We open
Mhm.
our phones every day because your voice is needed. People are looking to be entertained by you or informed by you, educated by you, or just to enjoy time with you, right? It's the bonds that are created via being a content creator, the relationships that have built, the businesses that have been built. There's just so much out there. So the grind is real, but so is the opportunity. And so just stick with it, keep going, collaborate as much as possible. Um,
Mhm.
Bring in help when you need to. Don't be afraid to. There's strength in numbers. From the
Yeah.
very beginning of the Black creator economy, we did this as a group.
Yeah.
We did this as a team. We partnered up, we collaborated, we referred each other. And it's going to take that. So get to know, show up to the conferences, meet other content creators, but most importantly, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Your content is needed, your voice is needed, and the opportunities will be there.
All right, guys, you heard it here first. Ashley, it's been such a pleasure having you on the program. Thank you so much for dropping those gems. And before we wrap up, please let everyone know where they can find and connect with Culture Genesis.
Definitely. Please hit us up on our website. You can reach out to us as a content creator, as a potential advertiser, culturegenesis.com. I am on LinkedIn or on socials. We would love to chat with you or your content creators. Content creators yourself, please feel free to reach out. Would love to be a resource to you, regardless of what stage you're at in your career. We'd love to help.
All right, guys, and to our listeners, stay connected with Black PR Wire by following at Black PR Wire on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and X for the latest news and updates in Black communities. Remember, it's Black Business Month, so support a Black business. Thank you so much for tuning in to Black PR Wire's Thriving in Color podcast. I'm your host, Camry, and remember to keep thriving in color.